Hello, hello, hello. Never thought you'd see me back so soon, did ya? Well, it's Sunday, Sunday fun day. I'm looking a hot mess, so pay no attention to how I present myself to you this Sunday. I just took a day to just chill and do nothing, as you can tell, as how scary I look. But I thought I'd pop on here and let's just do a whole Sunday fun day little dinner. I'm going to show you a quick, easy dinner recipe and a delectable dessert recipe. So we're going to start with the dessert first so we can get her in the oven. Let me get you guys hooked up here so you can see what's going on. Make sure my phone is good. You're going to take a 9x13 pan and you're going to put 1 can of cherry pie filling and 1 can of apple pie filling. If for some reason you don't like one or the other, you can just do 2 cans of cherry or 2 cans of apple. Or actually you can use whatever filling you want. This is what I decided to do. This is going to be so quick, so simple, and so easy. Then we're going to take 1 box classic yellow cake mix. We're going to open her up. And all we're going to do is sprinkle it on top of our pie filling that we already have in there. And you want to make sure you cover everything, sprinkle it all over. And if you have to like take a spatula and spread it out a little bit, then that's what you got to do. But you want to make sure everything is covered. I mean, this is the kind of stuff I like to do because it's super good and it's super quick and easy. That's why I like to post these videos for you guys, because it's really good stuff that you can make super quick and in a flash. So now you're just going to kind of take your spatula, kind of pat everything down, make sure everything is covered. So once you got that all smoothed out, you need to move my cup out of the way. You need to get a stick and a half of butter. So, and then we need to cut that cut that butter up. We're gonna kind of do this in little, my hands get all wet, hold on. Kind of slice these up in like little pats, because you're going to place that all over the top of the cake. They don't have to be perfect, but you just want to make sure that it gets all over the top. And you ask, why am I cutting butter with a steak knife? Because I'm not a chef. I just grab whatever's the closest, whatever's the handiest, and I'm on my way. I don't know, honestly, I feel like I use a steak knife to cut up just about everything. I don't know why it is that way. I think I've just always kind of been afraid of like the bigger knives that I'm going to cut my finger off. I want to learn like how like some of those chefs, you know, how they do all that fancy chopping. If I got to do stuff like that, I just pull out my like electric chopper thing and have at it. Let me put this butter back because we don't need that other half a stick. Let's get this bad boy unwrapped. It's beautiful here in Wisconsin today. It's like 64, sun is out. It's absolutely gorgeous. The beagles have been outside the majority of the day. They're out there right now, so surprisingly they're being really good boys because they did a lot of barking and howling because everybody's out and about. So, you know, they want to be involved, so they got their mouths going too. Okay, now that we have our butter all chopped up, you're just gonna go ahead and line her all up here. Because as this is cooking, that butter's gonna melt in and get it nice and brown and ooey and gooey. You know, my downfall is I have a huge, huge sweet tooth. I always have to have something sweet to eat. And that's probably why I can't lose any weight either. God, if they had all this good stuff and it was like sugar-free, I'd be in business. But no, I'm always craving something sweet. All right, that's all you got to do, kids. And then once the oven is heated, you want to set your oven on 350. Spray your baking pan. Put in your pie filling like I showed you. Dump the one package of the classic yellow cake mix on the top. Spread it out, make sure everything's covered. And then it's a stick and a half of butter sliced up. And then you're going to put it all over the top like I showed you. And once the oven goes off and it's ready, we're going to pop this in there. But for right now, we're going to move on to another goodie I have. We're going to make this yummy little treat. You want 1 8-ounce container of sugar-free Cool Whip. If I can get this open. I hate these wrappers, and it's especially not easy to do when your hands are wet. So let me wipe my hands off. If I can get into this and get it open, that would be great. Come on, Jody. All right, throw everything in the sink. You want this kind of thawed a little bit, so I'm going to pop her in a microwave for a couple seconds. And I have my meat for our next step. I'm going to put it in there for like 30 seconds. Get yourself out a mixing bowl. There's our mixing bowl. Got the Cool Whip in the microwave for a couple seconds just to thaw it out because I just got back from the store, so obviously it's still kind of frozen from being in the freezer. So much for my tip on my last video about cleaning as you go. I got a whole giant mess in my sink here. Let me get rid of some of this garbage. All right, the Cool Whip is ready. So I'm going to pull that out. I have no room here for nothing. Hold on, I'm having a little bit of a malfunction. I need another spoon. All right, I found one. Gonna scoop that out. And to that, we are going to add a half a box of this. Yum, yum. Instant sugar-free Jell-O cheesecake flavor. And it's half of this packet because I found if you use the whole packet, it tastes like too gritty. Oh, that's about a half a pack there. Seal that up for later. And then you're just gonna, as they say, fold it in. I'm not a good folder, so I just kind of gently mix her up. Just want to make sure everything is combined. Give it a good couple stir rounds there. Let me get myself a teaspoon so I can give it a little taste test. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Just want to make sure that that Jell-O gets dissolved in there. And now for the last step. We are going to add a few mini chocolate chips. You can add as little or as much as you'd like. I figured just a little bit to kind of give it some color. So I'll put those back in my Ziploc bag. Save for another recipe. And we're gonna stir that up. And then we're gonna put it right back in our Cool Whip container. And that's all that's to this one. And depending on what you like, you can put this in the freezer, or you can just chill it in the refrigerator. I more put it in the refrigerator and let it chill. And then it's going to taste like a yummy cheesecake. What did I do with the top of my Cool Whip container? I don't think I threw it in the garbage. I didn't, so where did she go? Oh, Cool Whip container. Here we go. It was laying under my bowl. So come on, you can't get easier than that. Dump it out, mix it in a bowl, put it back in there, put it in the fridge or freezer, like I said. I'd probably give that a couple hours to chill, and then it'll be ready to eat. You can thank me later. Now, let's get moving on to our supper. You're gonna want 1 roll of Jimmy Dean's breakfast sausage. I got the regular because I don't like spicy or nothing. And then you need 1 jar of the Baroli basil Alfredo sauce and 1 box of bow tie noodles. You're gonna fry up the breakfast sausage, drain it, Put on your Alfredo sauce, mix her together, cook your noodles, and there you have it. Sounds delicious, doesn't it? So I hope you guys enjoy all the tips and tricks and yummy delights. I'll do a short once everything is done, and you guys can see what it looks like once the cake is done baking, the dump cake, and once the dinner's ready to go. See you later. Bye.